Very good to be home. Thank you very much, Holly. That was a very, very kind introduction. I have a couple of simple tasks here this afternoon. One is to welcome, on behalf, as the MLA for Swift Current, welcome all of our out-of-town guests who've been here for meetings already, to say hello to all of you on behalf of the province of Saskatchewan. My second task is to introduce my friend, the Governor of Montana, Brian Schweitzer. Before I get to either of those tasks, I want to give you a bit of an update. You may have heard the job numbers are out in the country. There's some good news nationally. The unemployment rate is staying flat at 8%. I think the results, the unemployment results, have beat the street. I think people are pretty encouraged about what's going on in the country. What about Saskatchewan? Well, there's still some challenges across the country. Newfoundland, which has had some momentum, is down 8,700 jobs year over year. PEI is unfortunately down 1,800. Nova Scotia's down 3,500 jobs year over year. New Brunswick, 1,500. Quebec's down 10,900. Ontario, who we should be very supportive of at this point, I'll tell you, they're continuing to struggle a little bit. They're down 160,900 jobs. Manitoba's down 8,200. Alberta's down 18,200. BC's down 66,400. And there is one province in the Dominion of Canada that's up. And that's our province right here. It's the province of Saskatchewan. We have an increase year over year of 9,700 new jobs in Saskatchewan during a time of unprecedented global recession. And so while we are grateful for that, and while the government, by the way, acknowledges good fortune and providence as the source of much of the momentum that we are trying to continue, and I do appreciate the theme of the conference, we are going to be working very hard, all of us, chambers of commerce right across the province and business leaders in the government, to keep this momentum going, to keep the story of Saskatchewan moving forward. And you know, it's obviously good for the country when Saskatchewan is a have province, and when we're contributing as a have province to the country, when we're creating jobs perhaps for others who have lost their jobs in other provinces. That's when Canada's working at its best, when there is opportunities in the regions. And I think we're also proud of that new role that this have province of ours is playing in the Dominion of Canada. It was a bright day at the legislature yesterday, not just because of the governor's appearance and the things that he had to say and offer and how he says them, but what we did together. We signed a memorandum of understanding that will move our respective jurisdictions forward with the support, we believe, of the Obama administration and the Harper government in Canada. Will move us further onto the vanguard of, I think, one of the most important issues facing our economy, the economies of the world, and that's this nexus, this confluence of environmental policy and energy policy. And I'm going to let the governor get into it, but we're going to pursue and lead the world in clean coal technology and carbon sequestration as a result of the project that will come from the memorandum of understanding that we have signed. You've probably heard me quote Abraham Lincoln's story about what he thought about public service. He said that he told the story of the man that was tarred and feathered and rode out of town on a rail. And he likened it to public service. He said, if it wasn't for the honor of the thing, I'd just as soon walk. You know, yesterday it was just an honor to be able to be your representative and to work with the governor, because we weren't thinking about tomorrow or the news cycle the next day or even the next election. We were truly there planning for 10, 20, 30, 40 years down the road, to leave things better than we found them, hopefully. To take some risks along the way, frankly, to get there. And that's why it was just a great day. So, without any further ado, I've already gone on too long. You're in for a treat. I'd like to introduce my good friend, the Honorable the Governor of Montana, Brian Schweitzer.
Best thing you can call someone is your friend and your neighbor. And you are our friends and you are our neighbors. And Montana and Saskatchewan, we are joined by more than a border. We are joined by tradition, the same kind of stock that homesteaded in Saskatchewan, homesteaded in Montana. Came from the same places, came from Ireland, Ukraine, Germany, Norway, Sweden. And they came here because they didn't have someplace else to go. They came here because they were the last and the least, and this represented hope. An opportunity to own their own business. Stayed in Europe, at best they would survive and work for someone else. But they came here and they built a community working together. And that's what we're doing today. Saskatchewan and Montana, partners. Not only partners, but we are in a similar economic condition. Montana's never had a better economy. We have the largest budget surplus in the history of the state, while 47 other states are in deficit. Our employment is still growing. We have markedly increased not just the jobs in Montana, but the kind of jobs. You know, it was only 10 years ago that people bemoaned that children that went off to college never came home, that they would get a degree, and if you were an engineer or a scientist, if you had an advanced degree, there were no jobs in Montana. Your child raised their children, your grandchildren in Denver or Austin or Boston, and if you wanted to see your grandchildren, you traveled 1,000 miles and you saw them a couple times a year. Because we weren't creating jobs for people with advanced degrees. Today in Montana, and I suspect in Saskatchewan as well, the greatest shortage that we have in the workplace is not people who can lift bags or drive trucks, but for people who can design things, people who have advanced degrees. And so, frankly, we have a mission of traveling across the country and getting former Montanans to move home. And so we are bringing families together because now 40-year-olds, 35-year-olds who left Montana when they were 25 years old are coming home with their children and living in the same communities as their parents, the grandparents of those children. And that's what's happening in Saskatchewan as well. This is our time. The entire world is looking to this region for leadership in technology around energy. The entire world will look to us to develop these technologies that will create a cleaner and greener world.